In this example, they want us to solve by using the quadratic formula. We first notice that this problem is in the correct form to be able to use the quadratic formula. We have 0 on one side, and then on the left side we have each term in descending order. We next want to identify the values of a, b, and c. A we understand to be the constant value in front of the x squared term. In this case, there is no constant value written, so it would be understood to be a 1. B we understand to be the constant value in front of x. Once again, there's no actual value written, but we can see in this case it would be -1. And then C would be the constant, so this would be 6. Quadratic formula is x equals -b plus and minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We now want to plug our values in for the a, b, and c. So in the formula we have -b, so we would have negative, and then parenthesis, -1, close parenthesis, plus and minus square root b squared. So it would be -1 squared, make sure to use parentheses, and then minus 4, the a value is 1, the c value is 6, and then all this is over 2 times a, which is 1. Once we've substituted values in, we want to simplify. A negative, -1 is +1, plus and minus square root, -1 squared is +1. With the 3 factors here, I first want to simplify my sign. We see that there's only one negative, and that's in front of the 4, so the answer is going to be negative. And then we multiply 4 times 1 times 6, which would be 24. And then this is all over 2. From here, subtract the values under the root. 1 minus 24 is going to be -23. And then all this is still over 2. And then from here, from a prior lesson, we learned that if you have a negative underneath the root, you're going to have an imaginary answer. 23 is a prime number and also not a perfect square, so it's going to have to stay underneath the root, and then the negative is going to come out as an I. So we would have 1 plus and minus I roots of 23 all over 2. Now, in a prior example, we split at this point and we separated our answers out. 1 plus I roots of 23 over 2, and then 1 minus I roots of 23 over 2. Technically, these two answers cannot be simplified, but we actually do want to rewrite them. The reason that I say they can't be simplified is notice that in the top you cannot combine the 1's with the I roots of 23. The other reason is that neither of the terms in the top are divisible by 2. However, we do want to rewrite the answer, and what you will do is you will take each of the top terms and put it over 2. So we would do 1 over 2 plus I roots of 23 over 2, and on this one we'll do the same thing, 1 over 2 minus I roots of 23 over 2. What this does is, if the problem will simplify or reduce, it will put it in the correct format to be able to do that. So these guys would be my answer. Online, it will give me a box to fill in, so it will already have the x equals, and then it will want me to fill in the values that I found. So I would type in 1/2 plus I roots of 23 all over 2, and then put a comma, and then 1/2 minus I roots of 23 all over 2. In a prior lesson we discussed how we're going to write something that has an I in it. So do make a note, and I don't care, I've tried to be consistent in my notes as far as what I've done, but make yourself a note that I roots of 23 over 2 is the same thing as 23 over 2 with the I to the side. I like to write my I in the front of the root so that it's not confusing to whether the I is underneath the root or not. And the answer that I have boxed in above, the way it's written, the online program will accept the way that I have it written. But likely, if you get something wrong, then when they give you the correct answer, it would be in this second form. But it does not matter. It can be written either way, and either one of those two things is correct.